Daryl the Guru Johnson, you were at the game last night. I was just watching it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I got there later than I wanted to. I was supposed to have Evan and Handy meet up, but Evan was doing his duties. But I was there, 49er Frankie, sat next to FP Santangelo and his friend, had a good time. The Warriors got something brewing, and I don't want to look past the Hornets tonight, but I'm expecting them to win, Steiny, and Sunday at 4 p.m. on ESPN. They take on the Denver Nuggets. Just for me, the math part of this is you win tonight, it ain't house money because you're 10th.
That's gravy game Sunday.
Okay, there we go. But just as far as from afar and like you went through the list of who played and who they beat, you kind of want this one. You want this one for Denver, but the Warriors got something going, led by Steph Curry.
9 of 11. They're now 2 games over 500. They pick up a game on the L.A. Lakers.
Yeah.
They're still in 10th, but they could be a few spots higher in a week or so. You know what? What if I told you I figured it out? Or at
Life or the Warriors?
Not life.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
well, you got a good doctor report.
I'm giving, yeah, but I did. But by the way.
That's a blessing.
I'll tell you what, 95, some guys on 95.7 kind of been through the ringer a little bit. Thoughts and prayers out to
no
Joe
doubt.
Shasta
Man, no doubt.
and his family.
We love you, man.
66. I mean, that's how.
And Steiny, he was a young 66. He came to the house, met the family, just beautiful, man. And he was his son's hero, and that's all you can ask for as a father. That's what you strive for. But you're right, man. I love you for that. Thoughts
it's got a million things going through my head, with that stuff because there's a lot going,
Yeah, I got you.
Spone's got stuff going on. We all do. We
love you,
we all
man.
know that. Warrior fans, tell me if you're ready to buy what I'm selling here.
All right. I don't even know what it is.
I know you don't because we purposely
you withheld it.
No. You said don't. You said let's save it for the show. That's how good we don't need a script.
Right.
We Kyle Shanahan.
Boy,
scripted.
You guys.
Okay. To me, I figured out what this season's all about. In my, for me and the Warriors, and it's this. Can you be better than last year? Can you go further than last year? Because here's what I'm looking at. If let's say the Golden State Warriors continue to play well and they win a round in the playoffs, then they somehow win a second round.
Bam.
Then they get to the Western Conference Finals and lose. Okay. At that point, to my way of thinking, you can say, we made it to the Western Conference Finals. We make a couple right moves in the offseason. Maybe we can get back on top. To me, that's logical. Okay, so if you're better than last year, then maybe you just have a couple tweaks to try to get back all the way on top. Okay. If the Warriors get to the play-in, make the play-in, and lose in the first round, at that point, I'll look at it and say, champions in 2022, second round elimination in 2023. Okay, we got beat in the first round now in 2024. I think at that point, you can say we maybe need to pivot. Whatever that means. We can talk about that all show long. Whatever that would mean to pivot. If you go about the same as let's say you win a round and then you lose again in the second round, at that point, I think you maybe give the Warriors the benefit of the doubt because of their history. You try to get Clay back on a reasonable number, and you obviously try to improve. But if you're like last year's team, then maybe you do ride it till the wheels come off by trying to get Clay back here at a reasonable number. So, to me, what the Warriors are playing for is if you're better than if you show you're better than last year, that's going to mean you're a top 5 or 6 team in the league. Mm-hmm. Okay, once you're at that point, then can you reasonably say a move or two gets us back on top? Yeah, I think you could. If they go about the same as last year, then I think that's where it comes in. Has Clay, Steph, and Draymond earned the right to play together and retire the Warrior? I'd say, yeah, they give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. If they don't finish as well as last year, they lose in the first round, then we make some changes. Then maybe we don't bring Clay back. Then maybe, we don't bring Chris Paul back and we do all the things that so that's how I'm measuring the Warriors. I'm not thinking title yet.
All right.
I'm thinking, can we be better than last year? Could we go further than last year? And right now, the answer is maybe. I don't know that I bet on it, but there's nothing else to do. There's 28 games left. Play hard, win as many as you can, get to the postseason, and see what you can do. And then depending on what happens in the postseason, that'll dictate where we go from there.
I love it all. I got a different spin, and I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I was at the game, obviously, and Stephen Curry is playing some of his best basketball ever. And to me, it's coming off of some of the most difficult basketball that I've seen him play in regard to what was around him. I'm not saying he wasn't at fault for the subpar play, but Fitz at half saying, Curry's got one 3-point field goal attempt and things of that nature. It was just like product of your environment. And all of a sudden, I just keep going to this. Draymond comes back. And that's where I want to start. What would this, and people, you could tell me, quit living in the past. The boss didn't like this, but this is my Warrior math that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, and I'm not being unrealistic. What would this Warrior team be and their seeding had Draymond not got suspended? So the reason I bring that up, Steiny, is the stench that was the Jordan Poole v. Draymond last year. I'm ready to tell you, I'll take this team. I think this team right now is better than last year's team. And all that it had to do would deal with off the court. So that has me excited. Okay, they're 10th now, almost 9th. But if you have this Draymond Green and this Warrior defense, as Fitz talked about in regard to the metrics, since Draymond's come back for a whole season, or let's just say 12 of the 15 or however many he missed, where would they be? So my point is something's happening. They got I feel like the necessary ingredients where you got a budding, he's on the cusp of trying to become a star, Jonathan Kuminga. You got Draymond, the Tasmanian Devil. And the rat on the table for me, brought to you by Atco, Steiny, is I watched Klay Thompson last night, and it's not about, he didn't have 35. My thing is, if you told me Klay was out for the year, this Warrior bus would still move. It still would get to where it's supposed to go. And I think that's a playoff series with all these young guns like Minnesota and OKC. That experience or their lack of is going to be tested by this Warrior team. And if they were to get bounced in the first round or the play-in, I think Joe Lacob would kind of run it back because of some of the things that I'm saying, to where he would say, you know what, Goo, you do have a point. The house is not on fire. Had Dre not did what he did, but he did it.
Wait a minute.
Where would we be?
So wait, so you believe that if the Warriors
lose in the first round playoff
to the
series,
T-Wolves or the Thunder, or
let's
Denver,
just say in 6. I don't think wholesale changes are coming.
I think changes would come. I don't know.
Well,
we could discuss wholesale. I think
I should have left that off, but I don't think realistic. Clay coming back, Chris Paul coming back.
Chris Paul's not coming.
Okay,
back.
got you. I
Chris
appreciate
Paul's not
it.
coming
No doubt
back.
about it. So it's about
They
Clay.
can't bring Clay.
And if Curry
Chris
wants
Paul,
Clay back, he's going to be back. That's where it's really at to me. He could be up with Aisha and the kids watching Netflix.
Then I would ask
Joe, I want number 11 back. I know I'm breaking it down.
I wouldn't go that far.
You would?
I wouldn't, because I would answer it this way. Well, if Steph really wanted Clay back, why isn't Clay re-signed now? They had negotiations before the season.
Now, what if I brought in Steve Kerr to that? And I know one doesn't have an impact on the cap. What if I brought Steve Kerr to that? Like, that's just how it naturally has happened.
Well,
like him not being signed, there's no subliminal.
But we can't
everything's
say
all good.
Okay, why is Draymond back? Because Steph wanted him. Well, if Steph wanted, why aren't Kerr and Clay under contract then long term? If that's just if they lose in the first round, I think there's going to be changes. I don't think, if they lose in the first round, I don't think they're going to let Chris Paul walk, re-sign Clay at 22. And then hope Podziemski takes a jump. Hope Kuminga takes another jump.
That's what you're going to do. Be hoping.
And then I know Steph's great, but what about, the bottom line is, can Kuminga and Podziemski improve at a more rapid rate then Steph, Dre, and Clay decline. Like that to me is the kind of the easiest way to put it. If you think Steph can play 2 more years at this level, well then if Kuminga takes a jump, we're going to be better. If Steph falls off 10% and Draymond falls off 10 or 15% and Kuminga gets better, you might still be the same.
Okay, I got a wild card for you. Shout out NFL. Sit next to FP. He reached over and whispered to me and said, Goo, what's up with Wiggins? Like what? And I was speechless, but Steiny, if somehow Wiggins is able to get his 2022 form, and he was, a bit active last night, not his best game, but what about him pulling his part of the rope to where, hey, Podziemski, you guys ain't got to jump 15%. Maybe it's just 10. I got the other. Like, he's such a wild card, man. And he was active last night, Steiny. Like, I don't know what's going on. FP asked, and I didn't have the answer. He's an enigma. He's on, then he's off. But
and he's going to be on, and he's going to be off.
Wow,
probably for the rest of his career. So when I look at Wiggins, like I don't say, man, if he could play like 2022, I feel like he's Wiggins. He's always going to be a Wiggins. And what does that mean? He's going to have dips.
Right.
He's going to have
like me.
He's going to have more dips the last month, and then he's going to have some good games. Like, I just think this is who Wiggins is.
I get you.
I tell you what, here's the way I look at Wiggins. The minute you start expecting him, you're going to be disappointed.
Wow, Steiny. Damn.
It's probably not fair, but the minute you start saying, hey, Wiggins is, you know what? He might be their best two. Then I don't know. I like to treat Wiggins as gravy.
I'm not mad at that.
In a way, even though it's unfair.
Yeah.
I mean,
looks like he's had a birthday today, too, Andrew Wiggins, Steiny.
Who?
Andrew Wiggins. Happy birthday.
How old's Wiggins now?
Andrew Wiggins, Steiny.
29.
29.
He's 29. And Podziemski's birthday's Sunday. He's 21. Is that true? Podziemski's 21 on Sunday?
Yeah, it is his birthday today.
All right. You asked a question about Draymond. What if he wouldn't have been suspended?
Yeah. Give me 8 and 7 in that 15 games. Where are the Warriors? You know what I mean? You might have 5 or 6 more wins.
Or you might not be as good right now as you are.
Now explain that.
See, I always, I'm not an all or nothing guy. Okay, if Draymond got suspended, and that hurt because it put the whole rotation in flux. It made Kerr's decisions harder. Not only did he get suspended, but there was a period before the suspension where he played, then he didn't, then he didn't, then he played, then he didn't, and then he was suspended. So he did not help the team up until the point that he returned from suspension. I do not believe. Okay, so you're saying, well, what if he would have played the same way? But when he returned, Kuminga was a different player. And Podziemski, I'm not, when Draymond goes, I think it was the best thing that I got suspended. Well, no, it wasn't.
I forgot he said it.
No, I'm not, he probably didn't say it exactly like that. But there's a sentiment out there. There was a good part of Draymond getting suspended. I'm not saying there wasn't. The good part was, look what happened to Kuminga. Look what happened to Podziemski. Looks like Wiggins, I don't know if it was because of, okay, so those guys stepped up. Now Draymond comes back and they're maintaining their same level of play.
We got something.
Yeah. But I don't, they're 28 and 26, and I never think man, well, if Draymond wouldn't have got suspended.
Would they have 33 wins?
No, I don't think they would. I don't think they would have. I think they might have needed something to change, anything.
Yeah.
Because they were just treading water in a way with Draymond, even when he was playing.
Yeah. And we mentioned Shasky and everything his family's going through, and Spadoni, and we can't forget, Steiny, also the Warriors coach Decky. They lost a brother, and that has brought them together, I believe, too. And there's no tangible way to, obviously prove that, Steiny, but when things like that happen, I mean, things can go one or two ways, and it seems like the Warriors are fighting for something and fighting for their brother that's no longer here. I have no way to prove that, but it just feels like something's changed, and it may just be more than Draymond's return.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't think they're fighting hard for Decky, but I do think there's absolutely, positively something that could connect where, let's say Wiggins is Why was Wiggins
floating?
Why was Wiggins somnambulant? Sleepwalk. Why did he sleepwalk? Well, maybe he was going through stuff. Okay, now Decky passes. Maybe Wiggins looks in the mirror and says, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing?
No doubt, man.
Like, it's not worth it for me to not try hard. I got to try hard. It's the least I can do in life.
No doubt.
Especially seeing how precious it is and what happened there. It's like, I owe it. You know, I could absolutely see to a man each Warrior player saying, you know what? This guy Decky was unbelievable. He always had a smile on his face. Stuff is so much bigger than basketball. It's time for me to do my job and quit complaining and quit kind of crying about stuff, and playing time and this, that, and the other. That I do believe was part of it. I think that has been part of this.
That's real, Steiny. I appreciate that, man.
888-957-9570 is the number. I've been like trying to figure out how to decide expectations for this team. They're a 10th seed, but they're not the fifth worst team in the league. Are they a championship team? I don't think so right now. Talk to me in 2 months. I don't think they are right now. Okay, so what are we looking for? You know what? Can we go further than last year? If we go further than last year, we can say that we're building. If we can't go further than last year and we lose in the first round, well, then I think you got to look in the mirror and say we won a championship 2 years ago. We lost in the second round last year, and now we lost in the first round this year. We can't not do anything because
we need more.
We're not just going to get to the second round next year without making any improvements. So, I think that might be what Joe Lacob's thinking.
I'm looking at the standings. And damn near everybody's looking down on the Warriors. But Steiny, the New Orleans Pelicans, I'll just pick them. They're fifth. I know they got young athletes and
What's their record?
They are 34-22. But if they got hooked up with the Warriors in a 7-game series, partner, I get you. They could win it. But I could also see the Warriors with their experience and their stellar play of late. I could see them.
But see, that's where I'm not going. Like, I'm not going that far.
To the 7-game series.
Exactly. I'm not going, and we did it last year. I looked up all the numbers from last year, the Lakers series. And I feel like, so the Warriors, I'm convinced what mostly got the Warriors beat last year against the Lakers was when they lost the Game 6 Friday night at Chase Center to the Kings in the first round. Because when they lost that game, then they had to play a Game 7 in Sac on Sunday. The Lakers wrapped up their series that Friday night when the Warriors lost. So the Lakers had 4 days off, and the Warriors had to play that game in Sac. Curry has 50, goes nuts. 2 days later, they had to play the Lakers, and the Lakers had 4 days rest. And the way LeBron can do it is they put all their eggs in the Game 1 basket. I'm talking about the Lakers, because they knew the Warriors had come off a tough 7-game series, and they were never going to be more rested than the 4 days they had off after the first series. So what happened? They came in, they took Game 1, and that was it.
And they shut
the whole series. Yeah. What do you mean they shouldn't have?
Jordan, but I feel like the Warriors could have won that game. Jordan, the Lakers stole that game to me, Game 1.
But the Lakers, they had prepared properly for that game.
Well, there's a price of losing. Like when we did all that, don't stop believing, that Friday, thinking the Warriors were going to win Game 6 at home. My point is, Steiny,
they lost.
There's a price for y'all slipping.
They Warriors lost Game 1 because they lost.
No, I was talking about Game 6.
No, I'm saying the Warriors to me lost Game 1 against the Lakers because they lost Game 6 against the Kings.
But my point was, there's a price of losing? Why did you slip up at home?
When?
At Game 6 against the Kings.
That game.
My point is, I'm not saying you feeling sorry for him, but damn it, there's a price in you. Come on, nobody saw that coming. So okay, it got you in the next round. So be it, because that's how monumental of a disaster that Game 6 was Friday against Sac.
I'm not following what you're saying.
Like you're stating and you're laying out how LeBron planned and they handled their business.
Right.
And that had an effect or impact on Game 1.
Yes.
And you're not asking me not to feel sorry, but I'm saying the Warriors, tough I got to be careful here, tough, because the price of losing is the Warriors not being ready at home against the Kings.
I said I'm convinced that
so there's no sympathy.
Not one of the big reasons the Warriors lost to the Lakers last year was because they lost Game 6 to the Kings.
And there's a price.
Otherwise, Game 1 against the Lakers would have been either Sunday or Tuesday, but the Lakers and the Warriors would have had the same amount of rest. Mm-hmm. The Lakers came in here with 4 days of rest. They watched the Warriors, get through a Game 7, an emotional Game 7, and then the Warriors had to turn it right around. And this is where I think LeBron, we can talk all we want about LeBron, but I think this is where he is a level above. He somehow made it clear to the Lakers team that Game 1 was the most important game of that series, at least up till obviously, but that was the most winnable road game they were going to get in that series. That was the game they had to get to take home court. And if they didn't get they treated that Game 1, the Lakers in my mind, they treated Game 1 like a must win, like an absolute must win. And the Warriors, I'm not saying they were just happy to be there, but they still had baggage from a tough 7-game series. And they didn't have it physically, fatigue-wise, and then they got beat. Now all of a sudden they're down 1-0. Okay, so then what happens in Game 2? I'll tell you what happened. LeBron doesn't care in Game 2, and the Warriors win by 30 because the Lakers had done the one thing they wanted to do was take home court, and they knew Game 1 was going to be the best way to do it, I thought. And then, remember what happened in Game 3? Lakers beat the Warriors by 30.
Yeah, at home. Yeah, gotcha.
In L.A.
Yep.
And then the Lonnie Walker game was Game 4.
Boy.
But let me take it one step further, and this is why I refuse to get ahead of, or I refuse to start talking about, boy, if they get Oklahoma City, because I'll never forget.
Wow.
When the Warriors won Game 5 against the Lakers, and now it's Game 6, and I tell you what, all the pressure's on the Lakers. You don't want to lose to the Warriors again. And the Warriors had nothing. The Warriors got beat by 30. They may as well have gotten beat by 50 that night. They had nothing left in the tank. So, I mean, I think there's a chance the Warriors could play the Oklahoma, if the Warriors get in the play-in. First of all, if they're in the play-in and they make it, that doesn't mean they were playing great basketball down the finish. If they finished 9th or 10th, that means they essentially probably played 500 basketball from this point to the play-in, which means they're not playing great. Yeah. So, I don't want to fight, but I
get it. I got to slow my roll, man.
Minnesota could easily sweep the Warriors in a series, too.
And the Warriors, if they don't get past 10th, Steiny, they could be one and done.
Yep.
That's what's scary. And I'm gonna tell you this. I didn't tell Evan. I was holding this. I'm telling you, I am petrified of the Warriors hooking up with the Lakers in the play-in.